Well, hello, everyone, and welcome again to the podcast. And I'm really happy for you to get to know today Jazzmyn Proctor. Welcome, Jazzmyn. Glad to have you.
Thank you so much for having me, Gordon.
Yeah, and Jazzmyn is a podcaster as well, and she's going to tell us more about that. But Jazzmyn, as I start with everyone, tell folks a little bit more about yourself and how you've landed where you've landed.
Absolutely. So, I am a mental health therapist based in Washington, D.C., where I serve clients virtually in the states of Maryland and Virginia as well. And while I was in grad school and thinking about ways that I wanted to diversify my career and build external streams of income outside of being a therapist, social media seemed like the really natural route to take. So from there, I built my podcast, The Visibility Standard, and started building my marketing, especially through like platforms like Instagram and TikTok. So that's where I am now.
Oh, cool. Tell folks the name of your podcast.
My podcast is The Visibility Standard.
Okay. Okay. Good. So, as you started making this transition, I know one of the things that we talked a little bit about before we started recording is just, I think maybe sometimes therapists maybe sometimes struggle a little bit with being public facing and then using,
Mhm.
yeah, getting on social media and maybe there's different comfort levels with that and that sort of thing. But tell us kind of your journey through all of that and how you came landed on that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us therapists learn like you want to be a blank slate, right? So you want to make sure like the client knows the least amount of you as possible. And that's really hard with social media because part of marketing is sharing about yourself and being more personable. For me, it has always been really valuable for me to access my creativity in multiple ways. And so that's why social media was really important to me. But I also recognized since like 2020 that marketing my practice on social media was going to be a stronger referral base for myself to connect with other clinicians, to connect with potential clients. And so it was, I don't know, I guess it was kind of less about me being public facing when I first started and more about like, okay, what does it mean to practically market my business and build the caseload that I need to?
What sort of things did you find that were resonating with people as far as your niche and that sort of thing? And I guess that might be a good question as well as what niche do you identify for yourself and, you know, the type of
Yeah.
clients you seek?
So I work primarily with high achieving women and couples. I love couples work. And I think that approaching both like differently, like with individuals, I love the public facing and getting to be one on one. And then with couples, like you get to work with the unit. And I love being able to be a witness to strengthening a bond. So I work a lot with relationships of all types, and as well as a lot of mood disorders, perfectionism, anxiety, a lot of things that I would see with high achieving individuals. And so part of then building content around how to meet my ideal client was okay, talking about the struggles with being a high achiever, that fear of not being able to turn it off, talking a lot about self-worth, and as also a someone who aspires high and has had high expectations for themselves, I found myself being able to naturally incorporate myself, my story into the content, which made me more relatable as a therapist, and people seem to gravitate to that.
Right. You said something earlier that I think a lot of us in our training get, and that is to be kind of a neutral blank slate with people. But one of the things I've learned in the almost 25 years that I've been a therapist is that I think you give yourself more credibility when there's a bit of self-disclosure. And so
Mhm.
being able to kind of share kind of your humanness, I think goes a long way with building rapport. And I think it really resonates with people as well.
Absolutely. I mean, people are coming in and sharing their like the most sacred parts of themselves sometimes in the space. And so social media has also made it possible for me to share tidbits of my story without taking up session time. So that's been a really
Mhm.
good value when we think about the value of self-disclosure, the value of connecting with potential clients, current clients. I get to share who I am, share how people can experience me in session without necessarily taking up time like in the client session.
Hmm. Yeah. And so as you think about as you have kind of learned all of this, and I'm assuming maybe, did you have any background with any of this before you started doing your own marketing? Any more?
Yes. So I worked for a quasi government agency, a nonprofit basically, and they were just building their social media platforms when I was hired on. And so I decided to take that on during the COVID year. It got me to network with people, local leaders, government officials that were in the area. And it allowed me again to foster that creativity in a role that I didn't really expect to be building social media. And so from then on, I knew that social media would always be a part of my work. I
Hmm.
just didn't expect it to be for myself specifically. And
All
so that
right.
was the fun turn of events. But I was like, well, if I can do it for other people, I can probably do it for myself.
So maybe walk us through a little bit of your process with all of that as far as how you develop your posts and which platforms you find most successful for what you do.
So the most thoughtful process I have is my podcasting process, especially since I have guests and so I try to automate a lot of that process as much as I can
Hmm.
with Zcal and other like online schedulers. So from there, I batch maybe a couple of episodes ahead of time so that I don't have to always record in the moment. That allows me to stay organized and on top of the weekly cadence that I like to maintain. With platforms like Instagram and TikTok, I post what I feel like talking about. I find that's what keeps it fun. It's how I avoid burnout. So whether it's a clinical insight, some storytelling, or promoting my podcast, Instagram and TikTok is a bit more like is a bit more free. It's a freer process. I
Hmm.
have found the most success with marketing on Instagram. I always say you get what you put into it. And so I've
Hmm.
put a lot of work, time, and dedication into it and have been thankful to reap the rewards, not just clinically, but been able to partner with different mental health aligned brands, articles, and guesting on podcasts too. So
Hmm.
it's been very fruitful. Been very grateful.
Yeah. Yeah. So if someone is maybe thinking, okay, I need to up my social media game, how would you tell them to kind of go about doing that?
So I work with therapists in identifying what platforms they do want to invest in. I offer mentorship to business owners and therapists, private practice owners. And I always I want them to identify their strengths first. So not everyone enjoys talking in front of the camera. Some people prefer text posts, pretty picture posts, and that's okay. Instagram may be the platform for them. TikTok may not be the platform for them. Some really thrive with blog style writing and long form content. Okay, so you're guesting on podcasts or you're building out a Substack, which has been really helpful for leads. And so allowing the clinician to first identify what kind of time they feel like investing in their
Mm.
marketing and what are their strengths in terms of their creating style.
Are there particular, do you use, do you create within Instagram or do you use things like Canva or other platforms to help with that?
All of them.
Uh-huh.
Canva a lot for my when I do kind of carousel text posts to make them fun. I'll use Canva. I do a lot of my video editing in Instagram and TikTok. And then with my podcast, I use a podcast editor, have a good microphone, and again, like have those systems that I found work for me.
Hmm.
So it makes the process more easy. But I will say, like in first starting out, it definitely feels like a big lift because you're still just learning a lot of this. And I mean, a
Hmm.
lot of us in grad school didn't get a Tech 101 class.
Right.
We don't necessarily talk about marketing. And so I can understand too why it can feel really intimidating for clinicians to start creating.
Yeah. Yeah. Are there any particular, I know it's been a while since I've been directly involved in social media. Thank goodness I've got my assistant, Rachel, that handles all of that for me. And she does a much better job than I could ever dream about doing. But uh, are there any sort of scheduling software or platforms that you use as far as, creating a bunch of posts and then it being put out there on a
So Meta for
schedule?
Business. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. You're fine.
Meta for Business allows you to schedule posts on Facebook and Instagram. And as a fun cross posting tip, like when you post on Instagram, it can automatically also post to your Facebook. So that doubles your marketing efforts without you having to do any work, really.
Hmm.
Again, it allows people to expand their reach, their SEO. And so sometimes it's nice to find those platforms too that help you work smarter, not harder.
Right.
So Meta for Business, Instagram, TikTok, you can also create posts and draft them so you can save them for later. You can also schedule through the in-app. A lot of the social media apps have a lot of really great in-app functions already, and so we don't have
Hmm.
to go to a million different apps to accomplish what we want to accomplish.
Yeah, things have really changed since I first started out. And thinking about marketing, we used, and I'm not sure if we're still using it or not, but we used a platform called Buffer, which allowed us to post on several different
Okay.
platforms. Yeah, create the post and then it would feed it out to different
Hmm.
platforms. So yeah, so thought that was at the time that was pretty cool, but I'm sure things have changed a lot since we did all of that. Well, Jazzmyn, if people are interested in working with you, tell folks a little bit more about what you do and kind of your process there.
Absolutely. So if you go to my website at Healing with Jazzmyn, Jazzmyn, there you will see all of my offers for therapy as well as marketing, business coaching for therapists and business owners. From there, you'll be able to fill out a form that will email me directly. I also have a number on there if you prefer to text to reach out, and I would be happy to talk more about what it would look like to work together.
That's awesome. And we'll have links in the show notes and the show summary. And I'm assuming your podcast can be found on most any of the podcast platforms.
Yes, the visibility standard can be found on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast. You can also find my show.
Sure, sure. And well, again, we'll have links here in the show notes and the show summary for people to get to those things easily. But Jazzmyn, any parting thoughts just on what you do and maybe some encouragement for people out there that might be a little intimidated with doing a lot of social media?
Absolutely. I mean, so many of us find ourselves pivoting, whether that's adding something on top of being a therapist or pivoting out of therapy altogether, allowing yourself to flex that risk muscle and trying something new through creating on social media can be a really great way to test what you're into next.
Oh, great. That's great. Jazzmyn, I appreciate you being on the show and do check folks do check out her things. Again, you'll find links here in the show notes and the show summary. And hopefully we can have another conversation here soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gordon.
Thank you.